In this episode, we're going to be covering a basic life system. So what I mean by that is you will have a certain amount of lives to be able to complete the level. If you run out of lives, it will fully reset the level. If you still have lives, it won't reset everything and you'll keep your score and everything like that. So what we need to do, so I've set up the point pickup things here, and what it'll be is we need to make a kill volume, which will essentially reset the player, but it'll reduce the lives that we have, and then if we go into the kill volume when we have 0 lives, then it'll fully reset the level. So what we need to do is we need to first create that kill level, that kill zone. So if we go to the blueprints folder, right click the empty space, make a blueprint class, make an actor. I'm going to call this BP kill zone, and then we need to add a box collision to that, make it a nice round number of 50, 50 and 50. This doesn't matter because we'll just scale it when we actually put it in. I'm going to rename the box collision to player detect, and then we will start adding the code to actually do things to the player. So what we want to do is add a begin overlap, and then on the other actor we want to see if it is the player. So currently we have the third person character, so this will cast to the third person character. If it's not, then it won't do anything. If it is, then it'll do what we want it to do. But we first need to add the lives into the third person character, so let's go to that blueprint as well, and then we need to add lives. So in the variables we make a new one called lives, make it an integer, so it's a whole number, and then we can set the default to 3 for instance, and then we can do get lives, and then we can compare this. So you can do a greater than and then compare it to 0, or you can compare it. This one makes it a bit cleaner because I only need to do this one node rather than having the get node and then a branch node with that, so I like to use this one. So if the lives are greater than 0, then we want to do something. So what we want to do is go back to the third person character, and we want to make a new variable where it's respawn location, and then we want to change that to a vector. What we're essentially doing here is getting the location that we want the player to respawn at. It might be if you want them to point in a specific direction, you'd want to do a transform, so we could do that. So I'll do a transform here. What a transform is it's a collection of location, rotation and the scale. So all we need to do here is, that's already been done. So in the kill zone, well actually we need to set this to wherever we actually start. So we need to go to the begin play, and after everything we want to set the respawn location as the starting get actor transform. It's probably best that we rename this to transform as well. So all we're doing here is when we begin play, wherever we start, we want to respawn there if we die. So respawn transform is just the begin play actor's transform, which is self, which will be the third person character. So in this then, we can then set actor transform, and put that up there, and then we want to get respawn transform, and then we want to just link that up. So if the lives are greater than 0, then we want to set the actor transform, but then we want to get this and do minus minus, and it'll decrement. What that means is it'll just reduce it by 1. And then if you do a, for example, if you wanted to, you could do a plus plus, and then it'll do incrementing, which would be increase it by 1. So all this does is a really quick and simple way to minus it and increase it by 1. If we wanted to do it in a specific way, we would need to do the set lives and then do that minus like 5 or something. Oh, that's 6. But for this case, we just want to reduce it by 1. What we then want to do is, if it's equal or less than 0, the reason we do less than is just in case anything bugs out, it'll just catch it. So if it is equal to or less than 0, we want to reset the full level. So it could be that you have a specific level you want it to reset at, or it could be the current level, you just want to reset the current level. So the way we do that is we do get current level name, link that one up to that one as well, and then here we want to do open level by name, and for some reason the get current level name is a different variable type to the actual level name, so it'll just make this little note here which translates it from a string to a name variable type, but that will then work. Yeah, so what it'll be is, if the lives is more than 0, it'll reset to the place, but it'll keep all the values that we currently have. Or if it is 0, it will fully reset the level and it'll reset all the values and make everything go back to as it was before. So what we can do then is just test this kill zone, see if it works. So if I drag this in, and we can see this, it's a bit hard to see with the orange of the walls and stuff, but you can see this orange box here, and then we can scale that up. As long as it's hitting all of the areas that we want to reset the player with, then this should then work. So hopefully this works. So I'll pick up this first pickup and then reset, and as we can see, that ball is still disappeared. If we then pick up the rest of them and then die again, then we've done that. Do that again, and then this last time it should hopefully reset everything. Yeah, so we've run out of all of our lives, and then we've fully reset, and all the points and everything have reset. So what we could then do is add into the UI a actual indicator of what the lives are. So what we need to do is we should add some text. So if we copy and paste the score, because why not? But then what we want to do is text underscore lives, and then we want to rename this lives, and then the default is 3. And then what we need to do is link that up. So all it will be is make another custom event in the UI, and we're going to call this update lives, and then we're going to get all of this information. So we might as well just copy and paste this because it's just going to be the same thing, but we want to change this to get the lives rather than the actual score, and we want to change this to lives, and we want to replace that text score to text lives, and that should then work. I think everything's fine there, but then we need to actually add that information in there. So I want to drag off this cast to third person, and then we want to get HUD reference, and then we want to update lives. So after we've decreased the actual lives amount, then we want to update that text in the UI. So what it should be is we have lives 3, the score is 10, but then we've reduced it to 2, and then we'll reduce it to 1, and then we'll reduce it to 0, and then once we die on this one we have no more retries left, and then it fully resets everything. So that's how to make a very simple live system in your game.